Hi, I'm Theo Waite, and my job title, according to my contract, is Director of Operations at Lichess.
I'm Luca Bonnet, or Lucas. I am the president of the chess charity called Lichess, and I'm also sysadmin, which means I look after the servers and make sure that Lichess stays up all the time.
My name is Chris. I do content things. We're very bad with formal titles at Lichess. It's much easier to tell you what I do instead of a formal title.
Hello, my name is Sam. I started doing work with Lichess in 2021. I do development work. You might have seen the voice recognition on the Lichess website, and right now I'm working on adding some chess bots, some friendly AIs to the website.
I am Thanh. I'm a developer, and as a developer, I contribute for Lichess with my expertise.
I have been involved with Lichess for about a year now. I was invited as a mod, and I was really happy about it. There was absolutely no doubt if I wanted to do it. I just love Lichess, and I was extremely excited to get the invitation and join the team.
I'm Fishy Vishy. I've been volunteering for Lichess for 6 years, and I forgot the question.
Back in 2010, Thibaut Duplessis, a young French developer, was honing his skills and eagerly experimenting with various web technologies. Engaging in the development of numerous open-source projects, he found himself working on many, albeit mostly transient, endeavors that were often abandoned after just a few days. Among these fleeting learning projects was Lichess, a chessboard he impulsively crafted while exploring real-time communications between browsers using XHR long polling. After swiftly putting it together, he released it online and moved on to his next exploratory venture, like his other projects. To his surprise, someone actually began using Lichess. In response, he incorporated a chat feature for communication with this unexpected user. His initial version allowed for illegal moves on the chessboard, leading to a scolding from the user. Undeterred, he promptly corrected the issue. As more users joined in and invited friends, more and more chess players and open source enthusiasts joined who were excited by the idea or simply wanted to play chess online. He found himself caught in a cycle of introducing new bugs and diligently fixing them to accommodate the growing user base.
I got involved with Lichess by being a tournament promoter, so I was invited for moderation, and I'm currently doing moderation and some content.
When did you join the team?
I think, if I remember correctly, it was 2013. Yeah, so some time ago.
How long have I been doing it? That's also very hard to answer because I was part of things before it was so formally defined. I believe the first time I spoke to Thibaut was in 2015 or 2016. So that would give me 7 or 8 years.
I joined the team in 2016, I think, after asking too many questions about Thibaut during outages, and was like, stop asking questions, just join us and fix them for me, please.
New features were quickly added, such as accessibility for blind players, making Lichess the first chess site to allow visually impaired people to play. In 2015, the Lichess app, mainly developed by Vincent Velocitaire, was released for iOS and Android. The app, which is still very popular today, is currently being completely redeveloped. As the number of players grew, so did the running costs, which Thibaut had previously paid for all by himself. In 2016, Lichess became a registered non-profit organization, allowing users to donate.
As a president, having a lot of patience and the will to deal with the French administration is paramount, which is why I'm having to do it, because we don't have that many Frenchmen in the charity that can do it. Some kind of project management skills as well, just to know how to manage the many projects in parallel that you have all the time as a charity level, like new structures, new committees, talking with charities, other charities, other chess federations. Have to keep track of all of this. That's the main skills I think we need.
Not only did the number of users grow, but the team behind the website was also enriched by new, skilled people who were volunteering for Lichess in addition to their main occupations.
Well, there's many different areas. A lot of people want to be mods. That's probably not happening if you're just walking in off the street and we don't know you. There's a little bit more trust necessary for that. But there's plenty of things that you could work on if you want to help Lichess. Of course, there are content things. You could go to our Discord and look into creating broadcasts or in submitting videos for our video feature. If you are a developer, it's fairly easy to get into development. You go join the dev Discord, you check out our GitHub. Setting up the dev environment has recently become much, much, much easier than it used to be. And we have a whole good first issues project. And basically once you get set up as a developer, just find something you think you might be able to work on and dig in.
How do you balance your time and energy between Lichess and your real life?
So for me, it's not too difficult. It's whenever I get bored and I have no ideas or I've just finished a massive project, don't have any big thing to work on anymore, I can just do something with Lichess. If I have some crazy chess idea, I can just propose it, and then maybe I'll get a server to do some experiments on, and then that's pretty much it. Finding the balance isn't difficult because it's more I do what I want to do, and then if I don't have anything I want to do, I'll just do some stuff with Lichess.
Well, unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, real life comes before Lichess. So I'm really glad that I can set aside some time almost every day during the work week. So I will use at least half an hour every day for Lichess stuff. Plus, I do read all the conversations that we have together with the other members of the staff, Lichess staff. But basically, it's pretty easy. It's real life first, Lichess then. But I'm really happy that Lichess is actually part of my life.
Sometimes it actually gets addictive to work for Lichess because, in terms of the areas I volunteer in, I'm very passionate about them, and I feel like they're very interesting areas to volunteer in. So I spend a lot of time, and sometimes it's difficult to manage, but usually at the end of the day, you know that Lichess is in good hands. So sometimes I could take maybe a vacation, a small getaway from Lichess. I'd know that the site is still running as it is. So while my contributions are important, there are also many people on the site, and I can be assured they're doing a good job. So I find that that helps with balancing.
The biggest drawback for Lichess, which is also a big advantage, is that I actually legitimately like Lichess and want Lichess to do well, and I like the people that work there, and it's not just a job. I've had plenty of crappy jobs in the past at grocery stores, and I worked at Blockbuster and stuff. And when I walked out of that grocery store, if it had burned down the second I walked out, I would not have cared. I would just go work somewhere else. It would be no problem. And I don't feel that way about Lichess. So even if I've worked plenty on something and it still needs more, I'm probably going to keep working because I want it to go well for myself. I'm not worried about getting fired or my colleagues being mad at me. Just for myself, I want something to go well, so I'll keep working on it. And that can sort of dilate time and make you work on things for a long time. But in the end, it's a good problem to have. I mean, it's much better than being apathetic about your job and not caring. It's a good problem to have. As far as family time, it's not so difficult. My typical day is I get up early and I take my daughter to school, and then I'm alone at my house, which lets me focus. And then, she gets home from school and we go do some activity. And by then I've had plenty of time to work on stuff. And, I work mostly with Europeans. So 3 or 4 in the afternoon, it's going to be hard to get them on the phone anyway, because it's 10 o'clock in Europe. So yeah, I think I have it pretty good overall.
I travel quite often for my work. This year, I've only been in my home country for roughly 4 to 6 weeks out of the year, and we're currently in early September. So that gives some idea of how abroad I often am. I very often try to do offline work when I can on planes, or less secure work using public Wi-Fi at airports, that sort of thing. And that helps a bit. But to some extent, my travel is kind of now like my weekends. And the rest of my work is, very much in the time when I have a stable internet connection. But I think, it has a lot of very interesting opportunities and possibilities there. Traveling on behalf of Lichess is a real privilege, actually, to be able to meet with these people and kind of represent Lichess on their behalf. I recently was very lucky enough to meet the Australian cricketing legend and a bit of a childhood villain, actually. He wasn't really a hero, but Shane Warne. And that was really awesome. And I was very fortunate and very lucky to be able to experience that in my role, and with the privilege that I have to represent Lichess abroad.
Meetups were held in Paris, Oslo, Montreal, London, Lisbon, Eindhoven, and Barcelona, giving the team the chance to connect and get to know each other even better than just via chat.
The most memorable were the meetup where we met Magnus Carlsen, where he came to talk with us and laugh about the recent outages. That was quite fun, quite rewarding, because the world champion and at the time world champion and the best chess player in the world just comes to your table at the bar and speaks with you, which is, makes your heart go very warm. As an organization, it's also I'm very happy to have meetups where we meet new team volunteers and where we can discuss new ideas and face new challenges in a way that's productive for everybody. That's always nice to see.
Lichess also became a hub for competitive chess, hosting events and tournaments for players of all levels. In 2015, it held its first marathon, a 24-hour chess extravaganza that attracted 530 players. It also hosted its first Titled Arena, a monthly bullet tournament for players with official chess titles. The inaugural edition was won by none other than Magnus Carlsen, who became a regular participant and a fan favourite. Broadcasts were also introduced, a chance for people everywhere to follow chess tournaments held across the world, probably one of the most popular Lichess features these days. In 2019, Lichess turned 10 years old and reached a new milestone, the release of version 2, a major update that brought many new features, a more intuitive design, and better performance. The update was well received by the community, who adapted to the changes over time. But then, the world changed. The COVID-19 pandemic forced millions of people to stay at home and look for sources of online entertainment. Chess was one of them. Local chess clubs turned to Lichess as a digital alternative to play and socialize. Lichess experienced a surge in popularity, with the number of rated monthly games increasing from 44 million to over 70 million in a matter of weeks. The Lichess Bundesliga was founded, with thousands of players competing each week. But this also came with difficulties. The site had to cope with the increased demand on its infrastructure, adding new servers and expanding its moderation team to deal with the influx of reports. In June, Lichess hosted its biggest marathon at the time, with 18,000 players joining the fray.
I think what I learned is responsibility, because a small change can affect a lot of people, especially with Lichess Guild. When we did something wrong, even if it's very small thing, can affect like a lot of people. So it's make me conscious more about like what I'm doing, how to verify that what I'm doing is correct, at least not wrong.
As Lichess grew, so did its voice. Being open source and non-profit is already a political statement, but Lichess also began to speak out more broadly. blogs were published on various issues and controversies in the chess world, such as inappropriate sponsors, the Russia-Ukraine conflict, hate and discrimination, and the oppression of women. Lichess took a stand for justice and equality and encourages its users to do the same. In 2024, there are once again many major projects on the agenda: a restructuring of the organization to enable more future-oriented planning, the release of the new mobile app, which is already being tested in the beta phase, and of course, many new projects in the event and content area.
I guess one thing that I'm really interested in, or like really want to see in the future, is the new mobile app, because that's been coming on super fast. Like the work that's been going into it is like it's great. I've been able to pitch in on some of the libraries that have been behind the scenes working on the mobile app, and it's been fun to work on. But like just seeing how clean and how polished it is in such a short amount of time as well, that's going to be really interesting to see.
On the charity level, the work that we are undertaking to move up to the next level of charity organization structure is, in my opinion, very interesting and will be very nice when it's finally ready. On the technical level, we don't have many challenges right now. Just keeping up with the user base is a daily challenge anyway. And I don't want any more excitement than this at the moment.
Lichess, is a non-profit and mainly volunteer-run. So this creates some kind of challenges when we're operating in a very much for-profit sort of environment and for-profit sort of world. So very often we can have issues with, for example, resources, being a bit undermanned with what we need to do, and kind of coordinating that aspect and making sure that we have an impact on those quite tight resources can be quite a challenge at times. But I think there's also a lot of opportunities and positives to Lichess as well, pretty much purely because it is a non-profit. It has the best interests of its users at heart. And I think philosophically speaking, there aren't many places like this on the internet at the moment where people can kind of come to a bit of an oasis away from this kind of constant commodification that you see on the internet. You're seeing it now with perhaps Twitter, if I can name some names. And there's this general trend of, I think, what's kind of known as like the enshittification of the internet. So I think it's quite nice and a great opportunity for Lichess to be an exemplar to some extent, that you don't need to be unethical or unsustainable in your kind of practices to have a great community and have a great kind of place where people can come and play. So I think that's really important, and that's one of the best things about Lichess.
My name's Thibaut, I'm 39 years old from France. Some years ago I started a free chess website. I wanted to show that a community could build a very competitive system for playing and enjoying chess all over the world. It worked out, and I'm super happy to be a part of it.
Hi, I'm Ollie. I'm the official organiser of the meetup, but in reality, actually, Phil here is the organiser. He's far more frequent and can remember everyone's names, which I'm always impressed by.
Hi, my name is Phil. I've been living in Barcelona for 27 years, and I've been running the meetup since 2021.
I'm Janice. I'm a physicist, and I became interested in artificial intelligence, and that brought me to interest in chess. And I've been playing on Lichess, for around 5 years now, and it's been quite nice so far.
Hello, I'm Ruben. I started playing Lichess like 2-3 years ago, and I have played intermittent. I haven't played all the days, but sometimes I go to play.
I think Lichess is a good page to start playing. and also to play with other people when you don't have events like this. So it's good.
I'm Luis. I'm from Catalonia, but I live currently in Barcelona. I first heard about Lichess. I think it was my first app on my phone. So when I searched for chess, it was the first app. It was the first chess app I downloaded. And afterwards, I found out about how it's open source and how a lot of people contribute to it. I value this a lot on a chess app and in other things. So that's why I stuck with it.
I'm Anas. I'm from Morocco. I'm a data scientist, and I first started playing Elite Chess from I think 2017. I knew chess like from I was little. Like my uncle has teach me, but I didn't play too much. There were not a lot of opportunities to play with people, in the real world. But afterward, with the internet and stuff, and I came upon Lichess. It's an open source site, and it was great, like for for playing chess online whenever I would like it. And yeah, that's it.
Hey, my name is Greg. I have no idea when I first heard about Lichess, honestly. I really just don't know. I just used it someday. It was a while ago. It was like those maybe it was bullet tournaments, the 30-minute. No, just the like simple 30-minute ones, where you just keep playing and.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
Yes, Arena.
That's what it was.
Lichess.
So I'm Hannah, and I first learned about Lichess, I think, 2019, because I had some friends who played online, and then when the pandemic hit, I wanted to play correspondence chess with my dad and my brother, who live back in the UK while I live in Spain. So we all downloaded Lichess, and then we were playing against each other.
I actually started at this meetup. It was the place that I really started playing more often than every couple of years at Christmas, and quickly discovered Lichess after I spoke to people at the meetup.
I have played chess before with a friend in physical. Later, to improve, trying to improve, I started in Lichess, solving problems and playing versus online people.
For some friends, so we play here, and they said something like, "What is your score on Lichess?" And I said, "I don't have a Lichess account." And they said something like, "You have to create one because it's a good platform, and you can check your moves and improve yourself with the Analyze tool." So I start with that.
I'm currently playing at a chess club in Barcelona. It's called Tres Peons, but every day I go on Lichess and I play some games.
Well, the one thing that I like the most about Lichess is that it's a very big community where you can find many courses that people all around put it there, and even you can create your own course or your own lesson, and with annotations, with different suggestions and so on, and just share it with the community, and that is so nice and free.
I play in a chess club, and everyone in the club uses Lichess, so we have an online team, and that was also really useful during the pandemic. Well, after that, when we couldn't meet so regularly, to have online tournaments. I love the puzzles. I love Puzzle Storm. I'm basically addicted to Puzzle Storm. And yeah, I think I like the fact that in comparison to chess.com, you don't have to pay ever. You can just do infinite analysis. And I really like the study feature. I study all of my in-person games.
I like to play ballet, like short matches. Because I don't learn a lot with it, but it's like the most funny.
I have a degree in engineering, so I had the chance to like feel how things are done and how important is open source to everything, even to paid software. So contributing to open source is a way to ensure that there's a way for people to access the technology that maybe is another way that they couldn't afford it or they couldn't access. So I really value that Lichess is on open source because it's available for everyone and also free for everyone.
very large community, and also one of the best features is that there is no ads. They are not trying to sell you anything, or it's just free to play there. I enjoy that.
I really like the way that Lichess has handled a lot of the issues with women in chess. And I really appreciate the blog post that you guys have done surrounding that.
It's definitely the moment that Thibaut asked me to join the team. It's such an honor. I've been following Lichess for at least 6-7 years, and I always try to contribute something back to Lichess, as I play on Lichess for a long time and I love it. I always want to contribute back. And the moment that Lichess accept my pull request and Thibaut asked me to the team is just wonderful.
And so we have the last and most important question. Where did you get that nice t-shirt from?
This perfect t-shirt I got from Lichess shop, and you should check it out.
Okay, my favorite Lichess moment. It was a time I played against someone online on Lichess, and we had a very interesting game, but I then reviewed the game, reviewed the opening, and I found some kind of opening novelty, which included sacrificing a queen. And I was really, really happy when 2 weeks later I was paired with the same player, and I banged out the same opening, the queen sacrifice. And then my opponent wrote, at the end of the game, they wrote, "Are you a genius?" And I must say that was very, very flattering, and I was really happy that reviewing my game, like the same way I tell my students, reviewing my game brought me such a very nice win. That was really cool.
I'm extremely grateful for the community to be supporting us in the way they do. We have a very high level of donations, I think, and people from all over the world donate to Lichess to keep it running. And every time we have server outages, which are mainly due to our problems and not technical or money problems, the wave of donations flow in even more. And I'm really grateful to have such a generous community. Like recently, we published a very strong blog post about sexual assaults. And we had several users sending us emails and thanking us for this blog post and sending more money towards us for this blog post. I thought it was really, really nice. So thank you, Lichess community.
Like one of my favorite Lichess moments is when I see something I've made go out onto the site. So when I did the voice recognition stuff and seeing that go live, that was amazing. Like seeing people actually use it, seeing the YouTube videos made about it, seeing the feedback as well. That was quite cool. And like just being there to help improve it as well. That made me happy.
I mean, I don't want to use too flowery of language, but I think Lichess honestly is a gift to the chess community because it's doing what it's doing and not really asking anything of you as a person and not using you as a person. So many other websites would use you basically to run ads and make profit. But Lichess cares, and from its initial inception to this day, it cares about just providing chess and promoting chess and the study of chess and its variants. So yeah, I think its impact is great for the chess world, and I think, to be honest, everyone should be behind it in the chess world and look up to what people on Lichess are doing.
I want to say a big thank you to the community for all of their support, for believing in our philosophy and mission, and for ultimately being awesome. So thank you very much on behalf of everyone at Lichess.